Hello. Hey, Gethyn. How you doing? You well?
Hi, Ben. You all right?
Yeah,
Good, thank you. I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
fantastic. Love it. Happy to have you here. Thanks for joining your busy schedule. I know it's
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, mate. It's a pleasure.
absolutely, it's a joy. It's a joy. It's back. I had a week break last week, so as always, when I have a week break, everything seems ridiculously on. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What have I got to click on and stuff? Yeah, it's never
Did you?
normal, which is weird. I can do.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's good anyway.
Yeah.
Did you have a nice holiday? Did you have a nice break? Was you on holiday or was it just like
No,
busy
I
time? You know?
it was a combination of stuff. Work was a bit busy, but also I was prepared. I was flying to Palma. I was doing my first ever like in-person talk.
Fantastic.
Excuse me. And
Was
it
that was
took
that sequel? That was the sequel Saturday, yeah.
it
The
was
the
like
Data
Data
Saturday. Data
Saturdays.
Saturday. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. It was really good. It was an experience to be honest, because I live in Berlin and there is a direct flight from Berlin to Bologna, which is the nearest kind of airport that's used internationally, I guess.
yeah.
But I couldn't use that because I was booking through work and they don't book with Ryanair, so I had to fly from Berlin to Zurich, Zurich to Bologna, and then take a train from Bologna to Parma. And it turned out like door to door was like a 12-hour trip.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, which is ridiculous for Italy. I mean, this is 12 hours to Italy. This is crazy. Um, and so I was pretty tired when I got there, and so I had a great time. Don't get me wrong,
That's
really. It was,
that's really cool. What was your talk, mate? What were you talking about for your first one? Considering you've got like such a big YouTube channel and stuff, first in person, that's
yeah.
pretty
I mean,
impressive. What was you talking about?
out Deneb. I mean, it was. I thought
Yeah.
I'd keep it to what I know, basically. So
Cool.
it was kind of. I can talk about Deneb all day, to be honest. People ask me to stop, but I still do it. So I felt comfortable at the top. I didn't feel nervous, to be honest, which was I was. Let's just say if I was going to feel nervous about anything, I felt more nervous than I didn't feel nervous. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was all right. It was a good. It was the first time I did it in person, so it was great to see like people's like reaction. So you can see the
Yeah.
faces, what they respond to, what they don't respond to, and obviously I can't just like be a normal person and enjoy myself. I've got to like constantly critique and see how I can improve and stuff. It was good fun. I had a great time.
Good.
Great people,
Good. Good.
and I met.
Awesome.
Yeah, I met some. I mean, I've seen a couple of people who were there before, but Leon, whose name I've instantly forgotten because I forget names when I talk live. He was there, and Nicola Illich and stuff, and so a lot of
Nicola,
great
yeah.
people.
Nicola's in our pod. I know Nicola very well. And
Yeah,
Leon, I might be Leon Gordon. Is that his
Leon
name?
Gordon, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Exactly, yeah,
yeah.
great guy, really interesting.
I've never met Leon, but I see him on LinkedIn and see some of
Yeah,
his
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
in
sure.
person.
Yeah,
He's friends with Progatti,
right.
who they run. I think they run some user group. It's quite a big one, actually. Being like,
It was the London one, I think, right? It's a huge
yeah,
one.
yeah, it's a pretty big one. I don't actually know if it's the London one. It's a big one though. It might be a
Okay,
UK
okay,
one or
oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah, but still cool, awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it
good,
was cool. Anyway, that's
good.
that. Don't talk about me, mate. I want to talk about you. Let's talk about yourself. I mean, don't quickly introduce yourself for those people who don't know
Who
you.
will watch it? I'm sure everyone here doesn't know who I am. My name's Gethyn. My name's Gethyn. I'm a Welshman that lives in Wolverhampton. Um, I'll do my usual sort of training spiel here.
Do it, mate. Do it.
I've worked with Microsoft Technologies for about 20 years or so. Started out writing SQL queries. Well, my first job was a help desk operator, service desk analyst, call it what you will. But I ended up writing some SQL queries to get some reports
Yeah.
out of the help desk database. And from there, I morphed into web development, and then I was a DBA. Then I started my own business, and we did upgrades for SQL Server for about a good 8 or 9 years before we needed to even think about doing something else. Then we kind of fell into cloud and business intelligence and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And we still do lots of upgrades. We still do lots of performance, all the sort of old school skills, I'll call them. That nobody worries about these days, but
Yeah.
there's still plenty of like work out there with that. And we do some training, and we've written a couple of books.
Cool.
I've written a couple of books.
It's a lot, man.
A few training courses. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff. And I got nominated to be an MVP about 2 years ago, I think, by my friend Kevin. and I got it, and it was like, oh, this is
Wow.
interesting. Cool. I wasn't expecting that at all. No, it was awesome. It was a fun thing to have, and I still keep doing it. I'm doing the same thing, mate. Really.
And apparently, you were at the Minnesota Sequel Saturday.
I was at Minnesota Sequel Saturday. That was good. That was a good trip. There was a marathon on the sort of Sunday morning.
All right.
So long story short, I flew into Minnesota. I got a flight from London, and it was good. We went to the sort of Sequel Saturday. The marathon was meant to be on the Sunday morning. It got cancelled because of the heat.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, really, it got cancelled. And they were when I travel, if I travel long distances like that, I suffer with a little bit of jet lag. So I went to the gym around 4 o'clock in the morning because it was a 24-hour gym, and I was running away there. And about 5 o'clock, the sort of a few runners came in to use some of the kit because it'd been cancelled, and they weren't able to do it. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a shame. But anyway, it was a good event that day. It was a really it's a really nice place, Minnesota. Didn't know what to expect, but it was good.
It's one of the places that obviously I have heard of it. I know it clearly. Obviously, it's pretty, but I have no idea in my head of what it might look like.
Yeah, I didn't either when I got there, but I guess I don't know how to describe it either. No, I've been. In truth, it's a really sort of picturesque place. They call it the Twin Cities. I can't remember the name. There's Minnesota, and then there's a place that I can't remember that's really the state capital, and they're very close together. And it was the state capital whose name has gone out of my brain. Oh my God, that's bad. So I'm suffering for your thing now.
I guess the only thing I know about Minnesota is that this is ridiculous, but it's how all my knowledge of the US comes from, like from TV shows. And I'm pretty sure on How I Met Your Mother, Marshall was from Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure
that might be true.
And I'm pretty sure they made that fun of the accent, and they would say like Minnesota or some. I can't do accents. I'm really bad at it. It's Minnesota. I don't know. That's like, and it's cold. This is it. So I'm going for. Clearly, I'm a very educated, very classy person, referencing How I Met Your Mother, right?
That's probably true. I've never watched that show, so I couldn't possibly comment on it. But it's a lovely place. It's really picturesque. Really, it was lovely. I believe it gets really cold in the winter, so I think we just kind of caught the tail end of the sort of summer autumn season. I believe it's like probably snowed there now, and it's probably really cold. But
that's cool.
Yeah. It was really nice when we were there. Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to bring up Donald's comment because he said the accent was good, and basically I'll bring up any compliments on the screen.
All right, good.
I'm just that sort of person. I'm in control of it. So if people say nice things, I'll just pull it up. Exactly, John. Legendary. Johnny before asked how we get into the competition, but I can't pull the comment up on the screen, and I didn't really understand. You wrote before, how do I enter the competition?
Well, thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Johnny, for coming along, my friend. It's good to see you, mate.
It is good to see you, Johnny.
So I think Johnny also asked if you're free to travel to Manchester to talk at his user group.
Oh, he did. That's right, actually.
Yeah. Right, but Johnny is on. Johnny is a friend of mine who I've met a few years back at Sequel Bits, and we share this sort of well, I'm a sports fan, right, as you know, but cricket is Johnny's game and it's my game, and we ended up getting talking at Sequel Bits a couple of years ago, and we were chatting. It was just after Shane Warne had passed away, and I was like, I've never been so upset. I've never get upset when celebrities die, but when Shane Warne passed away, I was really gutted. And he's like, "And me," because we grew up, and he was just like the best cricketer that there was. So me and Johnny hit it off straight away, and he's a good guy. But the competition he's talking about is we're all members of what's called a LinkedIn pod. Okay. And basically it's an engagement pod. So it's a WhatsApp group where if you post on LinkedIn, put your link to your post, LinkedIn post in LinkedIn, people will come and like and comment on it, and it'll boost it, and it'll get it the sort of exposed to your network. And it works really. Like it. But if you want to join Ben, you're more than welcome, right? But it works really well. But anyway, people like the people in there, they produce really awesome content, and sometimes that can fall down the cracks. So it's like, look, put it in here. We'll all like and comment on it. You'll get the boost you want, and your content will get out there, and people will see it. More people will see it, and it works. I don't think it's illegal. It's not illegal. I know it's not illegal. Right? It's just people helping each other out.
Yeah, sure.
It's a nice little community, and it works. It works really well. But so this year we've we've been running since about 2020, right about the start of the pandemic. But this year, I've thought, oh well, I kind of started it up, and there's lots of administrators, and it's not just me, and it's a WhatsApp group. But I'm like, oh, we should really have let's have an end of year sort of celebration of what everyone's done. So we've got a blogs on the pod blog of the year award going on at some point soon.
That's cool.
Johnny's in on that.
I like all of that idea, to be honest. It's such a, in a way, such a basic thing, but it makes such good sense. I mean, it's a much nicer approach than like people like pay companies to like and repost and stuff. But that seems much more, communal somehow.
Communal. It's a little community. That's how I describe it. It's a little community, though. We have lots of discussions, lots of things go on in there. It's like, it's all good. And people will like and comment on posts, and it'll boost it. It seems to work.
Of all that, the thing I don't understand, because I've followed Johnny for a while on social media, but how did it? I missed the fact that he's a cricket fan. He's never.
It's his favourite sport. He was almost a professional, I believe. But what do you say? Plenty of. Oh, I can't say that.
Yeah, you can. You can say shit posting. It's okay. I think you can swear, because I don't put it on like on the paid thing on YouTube.
Oh, I knew the Floyd. Okay.
I think it's okay.
I think Johnny was quite a decent cricketer in his day. I think he wasn't far away from being really good at it, if I'm being honest with you, from what he's told me anyway.
I feel like somehow there's like a punchline come up here.
No, it's not. He's a big cricket fan.
That's amazing.
And he's very good at it. And I used to play. I played quite a lot when I was younger, but I was never very good. But I think Johnny was. Johnny played in a team where people got paid, and that's something I've never done.
Wow.
So I don't know if he got paid. I'm not sure if he got paid. He'll correct me if he didn't. I'm not sure if he did, but the Lancashire leagues where he lives are very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My brother. I mean, I like cricket. I'm not a huge cricket fan. I really like it. But when I was a kid, I hated it. I hated it because I would go every weekend with my dad. He would drag us to cricket matches. When I say drag, I mean he would go. My brother would go willingly, and I would go because I wanted to see my dad. And it was just sitting. I mean, I hate the sun, right? So this is what I don't understand about cricket generally. How is it that basically, let's face it, as English people, were generally pretty pasty, right? But we have a sport where we got to stand in the sun for like 10 hours and just stand there, and then you're in the stadium or the ground, and a lot of it's not covered. So like all the crowd are just sitting there like with the sun on, and that for me is like, that's like living hell, you know? So I hated it. But as I tell you when I started, I can't remember the exact test, but it was probably 1 second. I can remember the year because I just got dumped really badly. So it was probably around about 2000. I'd beaten us to South Africa, got dumped massively. So let's say it was around about 2005, 6 or something. There was a really famous, there was a test. It was the Ashes.
2005 then. That'll be
2005,
that.
Yeah. And I was watching the football on one night with my mates in a pub, and we got real drunk. And the next day, we went back to the same pub to hangover cure, and I had the cricket on and more football. We just spent the entire day sitting there like watching cricket, and I was like, actually, this is brilliant.
Yeah, that series was pretty amazing. In fairness, it's probably the best cricket you could ever watch, aside from like what they're playing at the moment, England in particular.
Yeah. True.
From a test match perspective, anyway.
But Johnny's right. It's actually rarely actually sunny there. That's a good point. I love the fact that in this conversation, if there's anyone from the US, he will probably just completely isolating them. But what are you going to do? It's cricket. It's like
so the US do have a 2020 league now. I forget
this
where
is true. I heard about this.
I forget about how big it is or how well it's done, but a lot of very good players have gone and played there. So I think it's catching on there too.
And actually, I think one of the higher ups from Microsoft posted about cricket the other day on Twitter. If he
did, I missed it. So I'll cough to that. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I forget who it was now. I think he referenced the Cricket World Cup, See you later, Johnny. Have a good one. You mentioned the Cricket World Cup, and also a few months ago, we were actually talking about this, the upcoming Cricket League, because I did read actually that it's like an upcoming sport in the US, which would be
I believe
brilliant.
so. Yeah.
That would be really if we could. I don't care about how good they get. I just want to speak to Americans about cricket, to be honest.
So I spoke to a few of them, and there's a lot of people that know about cricket in
That's good. That's
the
good.
US. But I've never seen it played there either. I've never seen a cricket ground. You see lots of the sort of American sports, but never a cricket ground. But yeah, I think it's catching on.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. There you go. I didn't think we'd be speaking about cricket. I thought football for sure, and fantasy football definitely, but didn't expect cricket to become so. In the
Are you a Newcastle fan then? If you're from
how dare you, sir? I'm a Sunderland.
Oh, you're Sunderland. Oh, shame.
So the shame, for those who don't understand the reference, is the fact that Sunderland.
I can do an accent as well.
You can do a Sunderland accent, yeah.
I can. Well, I don't know about a Sunderland accent. A northeast accent, I'm going to call it. You mack 'em, we tack 'em.
Mack 'em, and tack 'em, yeah.
Something to do with shipbuilding and
exactly, yeah.
Where they get put together and nailed together and everything else.
An interesting thing is if you go to a Newcastle Sunderland match, which there aren't many these days because the relegation and whatnot. They shake the keys at the Sunderland fans. They'll get the keys out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's that for?
Because they say whose keys are these keys. Instead of saying whose keys are these, they would say whose keys are these keys. And because of this weird accent that they have, and I love that about the UK. I suppose it's the same as most countries, but for a small country, we have lots of accents in very close proximity to the other places.
Yes. Very, very regionalised accent. So I live in Wolverhampton, and I don't really have a Wolverhampton accent, but I'm from Wales originally, and you can probably hear my Welsh accent a little bit more than my Wolverhampton. But in Wolverhampton, they're known as yam yams, and they "Oh, am your bab," because it's like "Oh, am your bab," and it's just a local dialect, right? And it's just an affectionate term for saying hello. But it's like,
no, really,
"Oh, am your bab," yeah, "Oh, am your bab." So I think it means "How are you?"
That's mad. I love that sort of thing. I do. It's great. My accent is nothing like my dad's. Well, that's not true. I'll change that. My accent is different from my dad's because he was born in city centre Newcastle. He was where he grew up. There was a block of flats which don't exist anymore, literally across the road from St James's Park.
Right.
But I grew up in Whitley Bay on the coast, so my accent's more coasty than Geordie.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And they are different. They are definitely different.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Wales, but I went on the. So I was mentioned before about going to Palma, and that was weird for me because I hadn't been on a flight since pre-pandemic.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. So I used to be a flight attendant, which is weird that I haven't been on an airplane for so long.
That's probably why you haven't been on an airplane for so long, I suspect.
About it, mate. Absolutely traumatized by it. It's like. It's a shame because I was so used to being on an airplane. I was great at flying, didn't bother me, but I've kind of started to hate it again. But the point I was trying to make is the last place before I went pandemic on holiday was in Wales.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been to Scotland a few times, and we go to the UK because it's the family can travel down to see us when we're there and stuff.
Yeah.
I forget where it was. We went to exactly now. It was kind of like it doesn't matter where it was. It was somewhere in Welsh on the coast, very pretty, and there's a castle there and stuff. It was kind of near.
That narrows it down to the.
I know, right? As I said it, I was like, "That's such a stupid comment, Ben." It was near the biggest mountain thing. Snowdon, exactly. I know they changed the name. I forgot what
it might not be called that now.
Yeah, they've changed.
I don't know either.
Yeah, we were there, and I remember kids they were trying to explain the difference between England, Wales, and Scotland, and how to be really clear about it. Because a couple of times my kids quite loudly would just shout, "Yeah, but Wales is like in England, right? Wales is part of England." I'm like, "Don't start a war! Come on, man! You can't say this." But I love it. It was nice. It's a great place.
My little son asked me now because he loves his football and he loves his sport and stuff, and he's like, "Daddy, can I play for Wales?" I'm like, "Yes, mate, you can." I don't want to play for England. I said, "Well, we'll talk about it when the time comes."
I love that. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, my kids have got almost zero interest in football, but when they do start to play and when they kick around the ball and whatnot, like, oh yeah, and I play for this team, for that player. I was like, and it's cool because really you could choose between England and Germany or Italy. You could choose which country you want to play for.
You can pick.
Yeah. It'll obviously never happen, but it just that.
Well, it might. You never know, right? You never know.
That is true. That is true.
With
Go for it, mate.
Sorry. So no. Sorry. All I was going to say is with Xander, my little one. He because you might know I've got a few football teams, and I just seen Justin Bird chirping there, and he loved this. But he said, "Daddy, can I play for Manchester United?" No. Daddy, can I support Manchester United? No. Daddy, I want to support Manchester United. You'll have to go and live with your granddad. and Bambi said no.
That's just early rebellion kicking in, mate.
Yeah, it is. I know.
Oh, amazing. I'm going to try. I'm trying my best to segue the conversation somehow back to data or Power BI or whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't know how I'm going to do it, to be honest. I'll tell you what. How data APIs of fantasy football, the fantasy football API. There you go.
Football API. Okay, right. So I don't actually know if this is a legal thing I'm doing, but it's out there. It's not. They don't publish the documentation on it. But on all the sort of medium Reddit sites, they tell you how you can pull the data. So I plug in and I pull the data down, and you can get they've changed it this season, so you can see the expected goals and all the cool stats that the commentators talk about. So you can see that through the website, but that was never there. But it was always there if you can get to the API. But it's available through their site now. Right?
This is the official FPL API.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's official.
Please, sorry.
No. Well, I don't know if it's official because they don't publicize it. But if you Google Fantasy Premier League API, and it'll take you to a non-Fantasy Premier League API site, and they give you a list of stuff you can just go and pull. They never change it. They're really good. They don't cut you off or anything like that.
Yeah, but is this the whole? Because I use that to create a report. I have an FPL report that I use to do all my stuff on, but I've never. Honestly, I didn't check this season because it got frustrated that they actually were taking data away from it, and I was hoping to get the XG and stuff from somewhere, but I couldn't see it. So maybe I'll have to revisit it.
Well, revisit it because they make all the expected goal stuff there available.
Nice. Okay.
And I've done a few little bits where because what they make available is the sort of summary stuff, which is cool, but it doesn't really help you if you want to drill into someone's got a 5-star team this week. How well do they do against those? You have to kind of accumulate that data yourself. I haven't got there yet, but I'm working on that. But I've just been using PowerShell to stuff I can't. The stuff I'm not clever enough to do in Power BI in terms of manipulating the URLs in M to change the IDs of other players. Yeah, you can do that, can you? Yeah. Well, I use PowerShell. It's like 3 lines of code, but in M it's quite difficult. So I put it all down to the CSV and then suck it in.
Get it. Yeah. The funny thing is about that, and this is actually cool because when I started working with Power BI, the data sources that I was using. I started using really ugly websites for amateur football in Berlin because I was really into it back then. I had a website about amateur football. I did a podcast and stuff about it. Had even an e-mag. It was I really went for it. Donald, I'm going to get a co-pilot in a minute. This is a really interesting point for me. It's certainly at work. I'll pin that mentally. If I don't, just shout at me.
I'll write it down, mate. I'll write it down. I won't forget.
Yeah, someone can just scream co-pilot back in the chat, But so I basically what I'm trying to say is I learned M in a really weird way because I didn't learn in a structured way. I was I need this data. That's my use case. So let's try and get it. So I was parameterizing and looping through APIs quite early on, but I didn't know how to do other really basic stuff because I need to do this. I need to learn how to do it. And so it's quite cool.
Well, believe it or not, when I was doing that, I reached out to Nicola Illich, and he's going, "Yeah, use PowerShell." He couldn't make it work for me either, so I'm I'd love to see what you've got going.
Yeah, okay.
If I could just do it in one place,
I'll happily share that with you, mate. No worries.
Yeah, fab.
But it's I love using APIs in Power BI. It's one of my favorite things to do because it's such a challenge, because like there's no API that's like the other API. They're all different in their own little
They're all
special
different.
way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great fun. I think the one that I've been playing around at work at the moment is probably the most challenging one. But the fantasy football API is great because there's no encryption, right? It's just open.
Yeah.
You can hit it and you get the data.
You used to be able to sign in. They stopped it. They seem to have sort of plugged that. You used to be able to sign in and pull your team out and then compare it, and that was pretty cool. Now that's gone away. But
actually, I think I have a YouTube video on how to do this. To be honest, I'm sure if in my backlist, it's quite an old one. Yeah,
it was probably your video I watched when I set it up for myself, and then it went away. I'm like, why is it saying I can't sign in? It was like annoying me, irritating.
But I always wish there was some kind of like a proper like connector for APIs. But I also understand why there's not, because again they're also different. Like how where you put your authentication, whether it's a header or where you need to put this and that. So it kind of has to be. And it's a great thing. It's a nice challenge to have, but it's one of the things that you can't say, oh, I know how to do it now. I know how to do it for all of them. It's like, no, you don't.
No, I know how to do it for this particular API.
And I don't understand. API documentation insists on constantly being shit.
It does that, yes.
It gives always the most basic example. It's like, well, I know how to do that. I want to do something more complex than that. When you got to show me the good stuff, and they're like, no, this isn't like use. What is it? What's it called?
Post get something else. I don't know.
No. Postman. Isn't there some kind of software called like
Postman? Postman. Yeah, there's a Postman.
I'm not going to use Postman. Show me how to do it. There was one API I saw the other day, and it had amazing documentation, and I loved it. I forget which one it was now, by the way, because it even said, I think it might have been Airtable. It even said, if you're using Microsoft Power BI, this is the code that you need for M. And I'm like, what? There's never seen this before. This is mental. It was brilliant. Loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, sorry. I'm just totally dominating the conversation here.
No, you're all right. It's good, man. It's good. Are you? So in terms of your obviously you've got a report that plumbs into the Fantasy Premier League. What leagues do you play? Because you're not in the sequel league. I've seen you in there. And,
no, I'm in there.
How good are you?
I'm pretty crap, to be honest. My problem with playing FPL and my report is that I'm more interested in having a good Power BI report than I am having a good team. And honestly, then the problem with my report is also that I play around with it. So it's on my website. It's published on my website, but
I've seen it. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, I change it so often because it's also becomes my playground, and it's just sometimes like now, you know what, I can quickly share my screen if you care.
Yeah, go on, go for it.
This one, I think it is. Yeah. What the hell? Can you see it?
Not yet. I can't see it anyway.
Oh, here it is. Just something weird happened.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
This is sharing on the wrong screen, but it doesn't matter. This is the basic thing of it, and but it's all like Deneb and stuff like this. Why is it being shared? This one, I think here. This one is all like Deneb. It's all like Deneb here, Deneb then. This is honestly, I want to remove that because it just, I'd put it in just as like just experiment playing around and stuff. But this is all linked to the API. It's good fun to play around with, and I don't know. It's good. It gives me something to do. But no, as a FPL player, I think I'm currently 7th in my league, but I am in the some kind of Power BI league for sure. I forget which one.
So I have got a Power BI fun and games one. I haven't seen you in that.
I'm in that one. That's what I'm in.
Are you in that one?
Yeah.
Let me have a check, because I did look earlier. I'm like, is you in my league? I can't remember.
My manager name is Ben Ferrino. Maybe that's right.
Oh, that's you then. Yeah. Okay, that is you. You're definitely in there then.
I'm 20th,
which makes you 16 places above me.
Get in.
I can see you now.
Oh man, yeah.
So I've had a terrible season this year, but the reason I sort of like started it, well, let me give a bit of background. I started writing some stuff on Fantasy Premier because I needed some data set that interested people aside from the standard sort of sales. Right? And everyone loves football, and there's 10 million people that play Fantasy Premier League, and the data's there, so it's all cool. And Well, so I just let's see if I can connect, and I found these websites that said you can get the Fantasy Premier League API, and I pulled the data in. It was good. And it was this is working really well. And I'm not the best report writer in the world, but I can do your model and stuff, which I did, and it's like this is quite good. But for years I've just been bumping along, not bothering. So I'm like, let's just see if we can make this better. And I wanted to write a book about being data driven. So I'm like, well, this will actually probably serve as a good example of how to do it. All right. So the book got written, the book got published this year. But about 2 years ago, I'm like, well, let's see if we can do a better fantasy football league and write some stuff. And people are interested in it. So they'll make, people will come along and read it. And I'm not dedicated like you, where you've had a week off. It's like I have like 6 months off making videos and stuff. So it's like, well, but the blogging I'm better at, right? I don't know, it's just how it is. Anyway, so long story short, I was like, well, let's create some content on this. And you just doing the sort of analysis, and looking at the data, and Fantasy Premier League they've got a few good stats like estimated next points, which takes into account like the form the player's in, and it takes into account the difficulty of the team they're playing and those kind of things. They don't tell you what it is, but you can kind of work it out. And it's not massively sophisticated either, but they give you an estimated score. So like this week, I don't want to play my wild card. I like to play my wild card right at the end of this window because you set it up for Christmas, and Christmas there's so many points available at Christmas, right? Yeah. But this week I'm going to get a rubbish score this week because all my players are playing. They're all in really difficult games. So like I've got like Liverpool, Man City, and this Man United, and Man United are rubbish. Everton, all Man United
that with such passion.
They are. Honestly, Justin will agree with me. Man United are rubbish, right? They're absolutely
just
rubbish.
There you go.
Justin's a Man United fan. He'll tell you. He'd be like, honestly, you put on, yes, they are rubbish, and they should sack Ten Hag and Bruno Fernandes. But anyway, he won't put that on there. He won't. But anyway, right. This week, because the games are all evenly matched, they're all going to be very tight. I can't see like in game week 6, for example. If I haven't got my report in front of me, sorry, but I'd show you. In game week 6, Newcastle scored like 120 points, which is normally about. It's a good 30 or 40 points above what a team would score overall. Yeah. And that's because they beat Brighton 7-0. So it's all like but it's not going to be. I say it's now. I'll probably stand corrected and look foolish. There probably won't be a 7-0 scoreline this weekend because of who's playing who. I get you. But anyway, it's a very long story now.
They did. They scored 100. They scored 119 points in game week 6. I just pulled up my Nev report and I got that's crazy. Sorry, please continue.
No, but it's a good. If you look at like the season, I haven't got a comparison for previous seasons, but if you were to look at the rest of the season, it's probably like 40 points more than any other. But they won 7-0, and if you look at when Liverpool beat Man United 7-0, Justin, it'd probably be the same. Right, because everyone's getting these goals, or when Liverpool beat Bournemouth by that many. But clearly that's an outlier, and you've got to go with like the sort of dross of the week. But where I'm going with this is when I started looking at the data and going, oh, I don't really want that player this week. So you look at my team this week, you wouldn't pick any of them because they got really hard games. By just looking at the data and looking at who they're playing and just doing a tiny little bit of analysis. I ended up putting like 400 points on my best score. That's crazy. And then I put another 50 points on it, and Justin beat me in the league because he got lucky. But this season it's been dire. I've had injury. Everyone I've picked. If I pick your player, your team's gonna go. I've had Bruno Fernandes for a few weeks. It's been. I've not had any sort of rub of the green, as John Virgo would call it.
That's a reference I wasn't expecting. Geez.
Well, my green screen behind it made me think of it, mate. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start singing the Big Break theme tune. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be nice to Donald. I'm gonna loop back to Donald's. Don't put even the question. It was a statement. See how I remembered it. Copilot is my new coding friend. I remembered. I don't remember very often, but I did this time. Donald's probably left already, but I don't care. I'm going to bring it up anyway. Do you use Copilot much?
So as an MVP, I get access to GitHub Copilot. The answer is no. I use ChatGPT a little bit, but
Yeah.
I've not really done any coding with it or anything. I know people say a lot of good stuff about it. No is the answer. I've not really used it in anger. What about you? Have you?
No, and that's the thing, because actually a couple of my colleagues were saying, "Oh, why can't we use why can't you use Copilot? Copilot's not activate and have a look." And I'm like, "What's going on?" So I checked all the settings and what have you, and it was all fine, all good. But we switched off the setting that you share your data with the US the settings outside of your job.
I don't know.
You have to switch on. You have to share the data outside of your geographical region, because it's only available in the US.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, so obviously that means you got to open a ticket, and then because it's got to get signed off by legal and stuff because of where the data is going and all the compliance and what have you. Which is I get it. I understand it. I mean, they're not doing anything. It's the same data, but it's just going somewhere else. But I get why. And I was thinking, it's going to take how long for this ticket to get approved? Let's just see when it's going to be available everywhere. So when I was looking, was it Ignite I was watching last week or whatever? I think it was Ignite, right? And then, this is this, and all these like hundreds of announcements. Oh, brilliant! And then Copilot is available and what have you. Exactly, done all legal. Sigh. It's gonna be great. I was like, yes, get in. It's gonna. I don't have to open tickets. It's gonna be. But like, oh yeah, it's Copilot's going live, and it's gonna get. And then there came those words like incrementally rolled out, starting at like March next year or whatever it was. I was like, oh come on, man, that's not cool. You can't announce something that's going to happen in March next year. That's not an announcement. You're just trying to make it sound cool. So I guess I'll open the ticket and then see what we can do.
Yes, I think. I guess in the world of agile and CI/CD, I laughed at Dolza. There are, you get the minimal viable product, and it builds from there, doesn't it? In the new world, anyway.
It does. It's a shame. But no, I guess I could switch on my own private tenant and stuff and play around there, but I haven't the chance. I haven't had time, to be honest.
No.
It's going to be great. It's going to be, everyone's going to use it. It's going to make everyone's lives easier. It's not going to be perfect for a long time, but it's going to, help you get to that point.
I think if you look at, like, let's call it the politics that they've gone on this week, it's been very interesting week all around, really. But
to highlight how ludicrous and how fast it all went down, I was having my morning meeting with my team, I think 2 days ago, sitting there having my coffee and I was like, it's crazy. Yeah, but I saw Microsoft are going to offer the jobs to everyone at OpenAI if they want. And my colleague was like, oh, mate, that's old news. He's already gone back to OpenAI. I was like, what? I hadn't checked the news this morning. It was just all like so fast. I was like, what's going on?
It's insane. I haven't followed it that closely. It was a bit. I saw the initial announcement, and then apparently it was a whole bunch of social media stuff that went on for a few days, and all the employees at OpenAI signed some open letter. I read that bit, and then he was reinstated, but he'd been offered a job at Microsoft, and it was all a bit like, oh wow, this is interesting.
I have no idea what went on behind closed doors, of course, but it'd be interesting to see what the logic was behind that decision, like what.
Exactly. I genuinely don't know.
Maybe they asked ChatGPT, should we fire Altman? You got to check your answers, man. It doesn't only always give you good answers.
I wrote a load of jokes about like who's in charge, the machines or the people. I deleted them. I didn't post them, but
no, there's a couple of good ones. I think there was a guy from Johnny's boss. Simon. He posted, who posted the thing about I own this, and I had the very good.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's like they Microsoft spent some money on it, didn't they? Like 10 million's been quoted, 10 billion's been quoted.
Yeah, I think that is.
And it's like, you could have got it for free. It could have got it for free.
Maybe the 10 billion was just to cause all the internal confusion. So
well, exactly. I don't know. I couldn't comment on that. I don't know.
They know what they're doing over there. Kind of sometimes. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. I figure what point was going to be about Copilot, but basically, actually, just thinking about Copilot, and I was running through my head with all these different announcements that were made. I don't know, like 75% of them. I've got 35 blogs to catch up with because I was away on the weekend and stuff. But One of the things I thought was the coolest thing, all these announcements, all these great things were coming out, and I don't know, Fabric going GA, probably going GA too soon, but whatever. I thought was great was the fixed price for Fabric. I gotta say, because I'm scared of this pay as you go. In case I leave it switched on, I end up with a bill of like 10,000 euros. But if I can just pay $150 a month for like F2, all right.
Yeah. I'm gonna show my I had a quiet week last week. November's a tough month for my house, so I haven't really been paying a lot of attention. I tuned into a little bit of Ignite. The pricing I haven't really kept up with. But if you say it's fixed, then I'm happy with that. That's a good thing. I've got a Fabric tenant. I've got a Fabric tenant, and it's good and it's cheap. Yeah. It's not expensive, and if that's staying that way, great. That's what I say to that.
I didn't dive too deep into myself. I don't with these sort of things because I mean I've been having one eye or half an eye maybe on Fabric just because I said this a few times and repeat myself, but I started using it, but because a lot of the things were new to me and I was making some mistakes, I was trying to ascertain are the problems my mistakes or the fact that Fabric's still in preview and stuff isn't working how it should be working. So for me it wasn't a great time to learn. So as it slowly improves, I think maybe it would be perfect.
I think like with that, when you're on the let's call it the bleeding edge, right? If which is where you are, because it's not finished, it's not perfect, it's got bugs, and that's why Microsoft release it so you can tell them, and they can fix it. So if you do report them back,
but that's
they might take them on board.
It's a great idea, but that's the thing. I didn't know if it was the bug with the product or it was me just making a mistake because I wasn't good enough. Like there are really.
I don't think that. I think the point here is right. If it doesn't work for you, tell them so they can work out if it's your fault or if it's a documentation's fault or if it's a genuine bug.
I had a situation where I first started doing it, and I had a call with I forget the guy's name. Webb. Was it Charles Webb?
No, Chris Webb.
No, not Chris. Not UK Chris Webb. Not.
Okay.
Charles Webb, the guy who works for Microsoft. Well, I know they both work for Microsoft. That's a bad thing. He the guy, the data marts guy. He kind of championed data marts. I think he was a guy's called.
Okay.
Someone in the chat can
correct me wrong about I don't know. If it is Charles, I don't know Charles Webb. Sorry. My bad.
But like I posted on Twitter about having these issues, and the guy he contacted me in DM. We end up doing like a call for like half an hour, like going through some stuff. So I always think it's amazing how receptive they are and how helpful they are with the feedback, and especially with obviously they put so much on. Yeah, it's Charles. Thank you, mate. They put so much into Fabric that I guess it's important for them to ensure that things are going in the direction you want to, because it's. I don't know. I don't want to say make or break. Maybe that's too dramatic because it's not going to break Microsoft. But they want it to succeed. Put it that way. I think that's a fair comment.
Yes, exactly. They do want it, and it will succeed as well. I suspect
it will. Yeah, there's very little doubt about that. Feedback's been pretty good, and it's kind of like it immediately became like the infrastructure. The only thing that frustrates me about it is that it left a lot of people in places where like, are we Fabric? Are we Power BI now? Like user groups were like, we're a Fabric user group now. And even like Guy in the Cube, they changed their streams to like, we'll be discussing stuff including Fabric and Power BI. It's like, they still have to add it as like this additional thing because the Power BI sits, of course, within Fabric, but Power BI had such a huge community already. They're trying to kind of merge those two things together. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's lots of other technologies in that mix as well, like the Synapse stuff and Data Factory and all that kind of stuff, and where all that sits, it's just woven in. It's just woven in. But there's the guys. Well, as you just said, the sort of like where does it all sit now? Where does it all sit? It'll land somewhere, and it'll be good. Well, it'll be useful, I suspect.
It will, and I learn new words like delta parquet, and I Google it and I see what it means. I'm like, all right, yeah. And people make okay, I understand what that means now. My previous boss, actually, I think I'm pretty sure Fabric was released or something, or just about like the day before I left my previous job.
Okay.
And I was speaking to from my boss about it, and I was saying, "Oh, I use this, and so it does this with data, and it uses like Delta Parquet," and you say, "Oh, that'll be fast," and I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll take your word for that one." Could be because I totally know what the alternative to Delta Parquet is. Oh man, but it's not. It's fun to learn new stuff, but it's just weird when you get like all this stuff like plonked on your desk, and it's like, "Hello, who are you?"
So what's your job then, Ben? What you do?
I'm a senior data analyst, basically. I'm a data analyst. It's but I don't know, the things that I do are quite broad, to be honest. Like I do documentations and trainings, and I currently been testing lots of like third-party tools that we can integrate into our. We have quite a secure company where we can't really install what we want, so we have to like check out to see what we need to be installed and all this kind of stuff. And it's good. I like it. It's quite a broad range, and I kind of enjoy being the person or one of the people ask Power BI questions about. Helps me learn as well. And people ask me questions I don't know the answer, I go and find out and stuff. And
cool.
So yeah, it's I mean, I moved, like I said, I've just about finished my probation period. So it's never. I hate probation period, but they can basically just fire with 2 weeks' notice. It sucks. But my boss says I've passed, so I'm happy about that. And then we'll see where we'll take it from there. But it's I work for university, so I really like the fact that it's
cool.
It's a product that I used to work for BASF, like a huge international chemical company, and I was like, doesn't feel great, And then I went to a company who makes glasses, and that was nice because I make glasses, not wrong with that. And now education, you can't knock education. So
you can't. No. Is it? Are you like to say the university on air, or you like not got permission for that?
Is it again, sorry?
Which university is it?
Oh, I've got permission. It's called the Internationale Hochschule. It's a private university. It's kind of like it's they do like remote and on-site education. So in my head, I feel it's like the Open University in the UK. Right. If that still exists, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's very big as well. Very popular.
Yeah. So it's like we're a big university. We're like one of the biggest remote, biggest hybrid universities in the country, I think. I don't know. I'm saying things that I'm not sure are fact or not, because I should have checked these things. But
I shouldn't have asked you, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. The branding always confused me because it's called the Internationale Hochschule, but the branding is IU.de. IU. There's a website because Hochschule is university, so they even like mixed the languages to make it seem even more international. It's pretty weird, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we've got very colourful hex codes on our branding. So if you go on our website, there's like neon greens and neon blues and all this stuff, So and they give us hoodies. So the hoodie I was wearing during my presentation when I was in Parma was like because my work paid for the trip, so I'm wearing the hoodie, and it's like 2 like bright pink tassels and stuff. Love it.
Fantastic. Yeah, awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. What's Parma like? Because I had the opportunity to go previously, but I wasn't able to, unfortunately. But
I gotta say,
is it a nice place?
It looked beautiful, but I can't answer that question because I was there for maybe half an hour less. And also when I was there, I wasn't in a crap mood. I was just grumpy because I was tired. So again, I had a long flight, and then I got to Bologna at, I don't know, probably 4:00 in the afternoon. And then from Bologna, it's like 1 hour on the train to Parma. Yeah. I get to Parma, and to be honest, I could have looked around and stuff a little bit, but I was just too tired. So I was like, I'll get the place where I was staying was like half an hour on the bus outside the center because I wanted to be close to university. I wanted to wake up in the morning and just walk to the university. You don't have to rely on trains and public transport. Just my own peace of mind, And actually, that's the story. Where the place I was staying was ludicrous. It was just bizarre. It was like a little B&B run by a family. They didn't speak any English. But my wife called them because she's Italian. And I got there and they're like, "You want to eat here tonight?" I was like, "I'll eat here. I'm hungry." And like, "Yeah, just give an extra €30 and we give you food." I was like, "Cool, great." Beautiful, huge home-cooked Italian dinner. Loved it. Great. That was all fine. started all getting weird the next day. When I got back, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try and get you money for your 30 euros for dinner. Well, you have to pay by cash." And I was like, "Okay." So they walked me to an ATM close by. I was like, "Fine, we get back." And then there's a guy in like the dining room. It was like the dining room lobby area. 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at this point. I'm exhausted. This guy standing with a bloody electric guitar and a massive speaker system. And I'm like, what is going on here? And apparently every Saturday night they have like a pretty loud party for like 10 people, and they all play a karaoke, and this guy plays guitar for them. Not guests, just friends.
Just people, just people from the street.
Yeah. And this was going on until 2:30 in the morning, man, singing at the top of their voices. And I'm like, I gotta get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning to leave. I was already exhausted. Like, obviously I couldn't sleep because the walls were like it was an old building, like thin doors, nothing insulated and stuff. So I was like, fuck, all this terrible singing. I mean, it was fun. They were having a great time, so I'm happy for them. But I'm like, God damn, guys, can you at least finish at like midnight or like 1 o'clock or something? I get up the next morning. There's no one there for the checkout. That's fine because we didn't expect it now. They said, let's take your food for breakfast. And then I was like, I got to leave. But I remembered that the gate to get out only opens if someone buzzes it. So I want to get. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get out? I swore, sorry. How the hell am I gonna get out of here? I ended up. I had to climb over like a fence over 6 foot. 190 this fence, so like just over 6 foot this fence, and it looks like it hasn't got spikes on top, but it's got like a loop thing. It's got like a fence with not little spikes, but like little bars and stuff, and then like a looping thing. So I've got to put my rucksack over in case I drop it and I'm on the wrong side. Loop my rucksack over. I climb over and through this fence, and as I'm climbing through, obviously my foot slips on the wet patch, and luckily I only hit my arse, not anything else. It hurts a little bit. I climbed through, and I'm like, where am I staying? And I've got to climb through a fence at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It feels like I'm trapped. It was experience. That's what it was. So yeah,
mate. When I went to Minnesota, I got a taxi, and I checked out, and it was fun. It was good. No climbing over fences.
Makes sense, right? Makes sense. I wanted to stay somewhere, first of all, close, but also with a bit of like Italian charm to it.
Yeah.
I think next time I'll just stay at a normal bloody hotel. To be honest, it's all right. You know what I mean?
St. Paul's is the other city. St. Paul's is where the event was that I went to at the top of the hour. A long time ago now.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's. But the flight to Minnesota for like is a cool thing. I mean, I would love to go that far. It'd be pretty nice just to get out.
It was good.
Yeah, I bet.
It was good. I went to Boston then about 2 weeks later.
Wow.
That was good as well.
Do you often like fly like all over for these things?
In the autumn, I will go to 1 or 2 places a bit further away.
Okay.
And then in the spring, there's a lot of stuff happening in Europe in the spring, which is like, Croatia has an event in June, and a few other places like a little bit more local. But no, I don't fly. It was just like, that sounds like quite a nice place to go. And the places I've never been, I'm always keen to go.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. To be honest, I just go to one. I really want to go to more because I think it was great. It was great fun. I was checking out your Sessionized profile, and you got a talk called "Top 5 Disasters We've Dealt With in Our Time as DBAs." That sounds like a really interesting one.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun one. So I do that with I do that with a guy called David Postlethwaite, and me and David were. So I used to do some work for. I don't know if I'm allowed to say them, so I won't say it. For an insurance company in the UK, down on the south coast in Bournemouth, and David lived in Swanage at the time. He still, he still lives in Swanage, but he's now based in Denmark.
Okay,
I want to say Denmark. All right. But he's a good mate of mine, and when I went to the company, he was technically a SQL Server DBA, but he came from a sort of .NET programming background, and he'd been doing it a couple of years. So I was like, I showed him some stuff, and then he learnt loads of stuff and got really good at it. and he's been doing it a very long time now. But so this is going back an awful long time. So I spoke at a SQL Saturday in the UK. I think it was Exeter. It probably was. And David was there, and he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind having a go at this." I said, "We should have a go at it." And he then went and spoke at everywhere. And we submit for like SQL Bits and other places, and that session is very good. And it's a lot of fun, and we have a lot of we do some serious stuff and lots of fun stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I won't give it away because
why would you? Exactly. Now that I've seen it, I'll definitely go to it if I'm at a conference with you. Yeah. I think I it took me a while to kind of get I'm not saying I've got it right now, but to kind of improve how I use Sessionize. Like a lot of my titles, I changed them and I deleted my older sessions. I created one and I've submitted this one to 2 different conferences. I've submitted to somewhere in the Netherlands. I forget what it's called now, but I've also submitted to Fabric February.
Oh, okay.
Right, but it's about Deneb, so I'm not sure if it's going to get accepted because Fabric February and Darren, I'm not sure if that's the correct there.
It might do.
But it's called Goodbye Vega Light. Goodbye Visual Shite, Hello Vega Light. And I'm like, I really hope that gets accepted because that would be such fun just to kind of.
I think like the title's very important, right? And it's a very catchy title, even if it's not like something you can. Well,
I don't know.
It's out there. It's on the border, and that'll get attention. I think
the plan is because I came up with these like, do you know that the new Deneb logo is just kind of like a D, and I made sure with Daniel Marsh Patrick it was okay to do this first. I've come up with like loads of T-shirt designs which are like completely ridiculous and like a joke, like I love the D, yeah. And I just want to make T-shirts. And if I ask questions and people get the right answer, or if anyone asks like a decent question, I'll say, you've won yourself a T-shirt, or like I'm down with the D. All these ridiculous, like inappropriate T-shirt designs. So that's the general plan. And also just goodbye visual shite, hello Vega Light on a T-shirt. I think would work well as well. So this is that's.
I think it's got progress, mate. It's like you remember the Forrest Gump thing where shit, it happens, and
yeah, exactly.
You are like
that. Yeah, I was just pointed the data viz on Faroe Islands. I didn't submit to that one because they only have a maximum of 2, and I came up with I'm a D-head. Mate, yes, thank you so much. I'm a D-head. Justin, I'm doing
Justin. That's my native fan, Justin. That is mine.
Yeah. So that's the one when he mentioned I thought of him. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the guy who's running that one is going to be on one of my live streams early next year.
Oh, is he?
He's going to
on the Faroes. No, I saw Askia publicize that. I don't know who runs that one. I don't know if I could get there, even if I wanted to be honest with you. But
it's a tough one. But I've always wanted to go to Faroe, so either way, I'm going. If I get accepted or not, I'm going.
I'm sure they're picking.
I forget the guy's name. It's Jesper Kristoffersen.
Oh, he's okay.
He lives on Faroe.
Cool.
Yeah. I remember when I was at Power BI Next Step in Denmark, I was speaking to a couple of guys. Sitting on a table, and they were both from Faroe Islands. And I was speaking to my wife in the evening, and I was like, actually, because I'd never met anyone from the Faroe Islands before. So I mentioned I met a couple of guys who were from Faroe. And my wife goes, "Really?" And I was like, "Yes." She asked the most bizarre question. She was like, "What did they look like?" And I was like, "What? They look like normal humans." What question is that?
They look like people.
Yeah. Oh man, it was brilliant. So yeah. Anyway, just me being right. Love it. Oh yeah. I feel I should ask you. I should have asked you more about your sessions and stuff. We spent so much time talking about fantasy football. Mate. Sorry about that, but
it's all right. My sessions are fantasy football to a degree.
It's true. It's a good point, actually. There you go. we merged those worlds there for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll have to wrap it up because I have to. My wife's in Italy. I need to give her a call in a few minutes. I promise I'll call her on my live stream.
You best go on phone her then, and thank you very much for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, everyone in the chat asking the questions. Really appreciate it. Kind of keeps it going and keeps it interesting. And yeah, I'll be back next week. I forget with who, but I think it is another sports related one, to be honest. But There you go. That's fine by me. Cheers, everyone. Have a good one.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.